Welcome back. Episode 4 of the Oakland 68's podcast. It's your boy, Anson Casanares. Joining me, as always, is our president, Jorge Leon. And today we got a special guest. You know him very well, near and dear to our hearts personally for more reasons than one. It's Bruce Maxwell, former Oakland A. He played with Oakland from 2016 through 2018. Bruce, thanks for coming on.
I appreciate the invite, guys. It's always a pleasure.
Right on. Last time we saw you was for the Oakland Ballers game, and we met you at Line 51 for our Oakland 68's Selling State IPA release.
Yeah.
How did it feel coming back to the town and everything?
Oh man, it was awesome, dude. I haven't been back, and Jorge knows I haven't been back in a while. Haven't been able to, and to be able to have the weekend to just kind of mingle. It's something I've never been able to really do. Last time I was really there, I was a player, and I had a little bit of time here and there to hang out with Jorge and a lot of the people out there, but I never really got the opportunity to spend a weekend and just be like a fan. I loved it. It was awesome to be able to connect with you guys and all the different people I haven't seen in years, and honestly, and just be in regular clothes. I mean, I actually had a lot of fun being a regular person in that atmosphere, man.
Yeah, that's always I always thought about that because I know at the end of the day, when you make it to like that status as a major league player or a professional ball player, you want to be in the stands because you grew up watching baseball and everything. So that had to be like refreshing to you. You can just like chill and
Yeah, no, it was, and it's it's not necessarily the status part because I didn't get to the point of your 10-year big leaguers and all that stuff, but it was like anytime I was ever in Oakland, I was working, so it was like I had a select time where I could go out and kind of be normal, and it wasn't really around a regular schedule because I was at the field at 1 to 11 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night. So it's like I used to be able to kind of kick it with people like on my off day, or if we had like a day game, we can go get dinner or whatever. But to be able to have those 3 days and just literally be able to just talk to people and to enjoy the atmosphere and not have the uniform on. I mean, I loved every second of it, dude. It was awesome.
Yeah, and
you went to some games right before the whole the final game happened and shit.
Well, no, it was like I think it was last year. Yeah, last year I had come up to the Bay for some family stuff, and I went to the stadium early, like just to see the coaches, like Kotze and all those guys. I never stayed for the game though. I never had any intentions of staying for the game. I just wanted to go see my coaches and stuff because, yeah, every outside of Bomel and Ryan Christensen, like all the coaches there are the same ones over there when I was playing. They were just having different jobs, and so I came up early just to say hello to them, and then I bounced out after that. But I went to that Sunday Battle of the Bay game. That was the first game I've actually been to since I was a player, actually.
Man,
damn.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. So I'm back in Cali now, but before it was like I was spending 10 months a year in Mexico because I played in summer and winter. The last couple of years, I've spent more time in Alabama with my family than I have been out here in SoCal, and so. Because I haven't had much time at home because in between seasons and stuff. And then obviously when I went and played with the Mets, I'm on the other side of the country, and so I really haven't had the opportunity until now to actually come up and actually spend time in the Bay and hang out with you guys and hang out with the Ballers. And this is one of the few times that I've had literally since last time I played.
I know, man. I mean, we used to kick it, man.
Yeah.
It was
Exactly,
some good times.
We used to go to Jack London and bowl and stuff and all that stuff. And it was like, that's when I was there all the time, and it's like everything right now I'm working on,
That's all good.
On the podcast, call you back.
Yeah.
My wife. Sorry.
Okay.
But no, it's like we used to go to Jack London. We used to hang out. We used to go softball. Like we used to, I used to go watch and stuff. Like it was cool, but I was there every day,
Yeah.
And it's like finally my life has calmed down a little bit where, Southern California is now my consistent location. So now it's like we can make the weekend trip. We can make a week-long trip if we wanted to. Like it actually gives me the opportunity to reconnect with you guys and actually just be able to hang out, which is something I've never really had much time to do in the first place.
Yeah, man. And you can kind of let your guards down a little bit. And
well, yeah, because I don't have to be like, hey, listen, I only got 2 hours since I got to get to the field, or hey, let's meet for breakfast. It's just hard to hang out with. I'm going to say this lightly. It's hard to hang out with regular people because we don't work on regular hours.
Right.
So it's like, we go to bed at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. I wake up at 10. Might get something to eat. I'm headed to the field at 12:30, California traffic, and then I'm there till 11. It's one of those things. So it felt good, man. I enjoyed hanging out with you guys for those couple of days.
Yeah, man. The grind of being a ball player, man. I want you to talk about that a little bit, man, because the ballers, especially indie ball. I mean, it's crazy. Like the grind day in and day out. I mean, you gotta love this sport to really make it.
Oh yeah, that's the thing, man. Like no matter what level you're at, like indie ball, international, minor leagues, whatever, like even in the big leagues, man, like yeah, big leagues is better just because of the pay. It makes things, you travel 5-star, you travel on your own planes, like that stuff is awesome, right? But there's only 1% of 1-2% of people that make it to the show, And so when you're talking about indie ball, when you're talking about the minor leagues, dude, those places are grinds, man. Like it doesn't matter if you're a first rounder, 30th rounder, and that's where your love of the game is really tested. And I tell my young kids that all the time, like it's not just enough for you to show up. Like you gotta live, eat, and breathe this stuff to be able to maximize your opportunities to get where you want to go in life. Like and it's on the field, off the field. But indie ball is a whole different ball game, dude. I got some friends of mine that play indie ball. A couple of my dudes coach indie ball. Just like the ballers, like they don't have cages yet. They don't have cages yet. It's expensive to live in California, right? And then the ballers do a great job of helping the players have that sense of stability, like without with making the minimum. Right. You go to other places, dude. They have terrible ballparks. They have terrible facilities. They have terrible dugouts. They have terrible fields. But you're still expected to perform, right? And the minor league, same thing. When I was coming through, we were in Beloit, Wisconsin, which the first 3 months of season, you had 12 people in the stands because it's the first month and a half, it's still snowing. Coldest I've ever been in my life, by the way. Coldest I've ever been. But you still got to perform. And then you go from that to Stockton, California, which Stockton, California, better ballpark, better fan base, hot as hell. But at the same time, the area you're in is not very good. There's not a whole lot to do. But every day is baseball. You go to Double A, which is in Midland, Texas. Dude, ain't nothing in Midland except oil and the Rockhounds. That's it. Like and no, seriously, like it's I spent parts of 2 seasons there, and it's a grind, dude. It's a tough place to hit. That league itself is probably, when it comes to travel and the ability to hit well, probably the hardest league in all of minor league baseball. And it's a grind. It's a grind. AAA was in Nashville when I was there, and that was a breath of like fresh air, because A, that's the closest I've ever been to home, but B, it was a brand new stadium. It was a good environment. You could go out. There was plenty of food options. There was plenty of extracurriculars to do, like everything in Nashville. Bigger city, better city. So that was a little easier. but not everybody has that. Not every organization has that, even at the AAA level. And so it's a grind, man. Like it's something that you have to legitimately be obsessed with to be able to progress. Because like my kids and I have these conversations all the time. Like if you go out there and you don't have no desire to be the best, and you're not obsessed with this ain't the sport for you. Mm-mm. Because unlike other sports, we have to be the best failures to succeed in baseball. And that's the hard part. And it's like the little things you have to do every day. Like one of my buddies says this all the time to his guys. He says the good players do it. The good players do it till they can get it right. The great players do it till they can't get it wrong. And it takes day after day after day after day, man. And it's you got to be obsessed with it, dude. I did it for a very, very long time, and that's what I'm teaching these kids now. Like these young adults, these teenagers. Like, bro, it's not enough just to show up. It's not enough to go through the motions. Like you're not that good.
And it's such a mental game. Like you said, man. Like you got to be ready to fail, because I mean you could go 0 for 3. But have like 2 sacrifice bunts, and that could be a great day. You know what I mean? You help the team win.
Ooh, hey, 100%, man. I was talking to one of my kids the other day, and he was like, "Hey, coach, if you ever struck out 3 times in a game," I was like, 3. I said, let me tell you something, kiddo. I was like, he's one of my catchers, and I was explaining to him the mental warfare you go through as a catcher, because you got 2 jobs, right? And I said, this is the thing, man. I was like, I was a defensive-minded catcher. I said, in my time, we all were, for the most part. I said, but I can go 4 for 4 with 4 homers and catch badly and lose. And I can also go 0 for 4 and catch well, and we can still give my team an opportunity to win. That's the difference catching. Like you have so much to do. Your offense is almost secondary to your overall job, because you can catch your ass off, right? And still keep runs off the board and control the pitching staff, but then go 0 for 4.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember this, but when me and Mengden threw that complete game shutty in 16 in Philly.
Yeah.
Dude, I went 0 for 4 with 4 of the possibly the worst strikeouts I've ever had. I had no idea what was going on with me at the plate. And in the I think it was like a 7th inning, I came in after my third punchy, and I'm sitting on the bench. I got a towel over my head, and I'm trying my hardest not to lose my mind. Like I'm like, bro, I don't even know what I'm doing wrong. I don't even know what I'm doing right. Like nothing. And Bomel pulls me. He comes, sits next to me. He goes, "Hey, listen, I know you're frustrated. You're catching a hell of a game. All I need you to do is focus on that right now." Damn. And I was like, got it. Okay. and me and him went complete game shutty, rookie battery against, at the time, Phillies were one of the top hitting teams in the league. Yeah. And we were in Philly, which is a hitter's ballpark. Mm-hmm. And, we finished that. And he told me, he was like, listen, we all got our days. But he goes, I'm very proud of you for sticking that out, because even though you want to hit, we all want to hit, you did a hell of a job behind the plate. And it's these kids don't understand, man. Like, it's not all about offense. It's not all about like making the big plays. It's about doing the little stuff right every single day. Yeah. Like that's what I've learned and I've done over my career. So this is what I'm trying to teach these kids.
Yeah, it's all about that mentality, because, if you keep focusing on the negatives, then there's no way you're going to be able to just shake that off. You know what I mean?
Or if you don't have, like you said, it's mental, right? So if you have if you're programmed to do all of these things right every day, it helps with your mental. Like right. It gives you a routine. It gives you a foundation. And that's what we're trying to build in the youth right now. Like, it's not good enough to show up, one day you do all your stuff and then the next 2 days you don't really do anything. And then those mental struggles, the baseball struggles that everybody has, those routines, that sacrifice, that dedication is what gets you through those tough times, because there's going to be tons of them and they never stop. So like my routine got me through the aches and pains. It got me through the struggles at the plate. It got me through the bad weeks, months at, behind the dish, at the dish, whatever. But my routine never wavered. It stayed the exact same. I stuck to it every single day. And that's what allowed me to keep powering through it, man. And that's why it's so important.
Yeah, man. You also what's the difference between the Major League Baseball and the Mexican League too? Because you played with the Acereros out there.
Man, I played Acereros, Aguascalientes, Campeche, Saltillo. I played with everybody. It's
shout out Mexico, baby.
no, it's a competitive league, man. It is, and it's progressed since I've started playing for them in 2019. The talent level has steadily gone higher. But it's not the big leagues. Big leagues is the best baseball in the world. I mean, you can emulate it, try to emulate it as much as possible, but the MLB will always be the hierarchy. Right. It'll always be the hierarchy, and it's literally the highest level of baseball on the planet. So you can get close, you can try to, but majority of the time, if you have major league caliber players in their prime at a younger age, they won't even be in Mexico. They won't be in Japan. They'll be in the States with an organization. That's just how it works. And so it's gotten more competitive. More teams are getting added. The talent level is starting to spread out a little bit. It used to be, a couple teams in the north, couple teams in the south where they were stacked because it was more available for them because they had more money. But now with the new import rule of they have 20 extranjeros, which also count Mexican Americans as well. It's like it's allowed all teams to be able to kind of put money towards like those imported players, those Dominican, Cuban, American guys, like all those things to kind of add that talent to the natives. Yeah,
man. Because Reddick, one of your teammates out there in the Mexican League, he showed me a picture of the clubhouse, and literally like everyone was just sitting on the floor. And it's like, yeah, this is how it is. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you guys got no chairs?
Yeah, some of those. I mean, the Mexican League, outside of probably two stadiums. Like there's two stadiums in the Mexican League that are big league, like in the summer. In the summer that are big league, and it's Monterrey and it's Mexico City, right? Okay. But they also play major league games there, exhibition games during the seasons in the last couple of years. So they also get help. Like they have the encouragement to make their stadiums like they are because it has to be up to par for the major league teams to play there. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So clubhouse is big league as hell. The field itself, the stadium, but not that's two teams out of 20.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like we didn't have it bad in Monclova. Like the locker room was small, but they, redid the turf and everything, the lockers and stuff. But it's still not. It's still minor. Like it's like I tell people, it's still minor league baseball. Yeah, it's still minor league baseball. And you go to some places, man, their locker room is big as a shoebox. and there's 25 of you. You know what I'm saying? 26. So it's like, it's you got guys changing in the hallway. Like it's very much still the minor league baseball.
Yeah, I went to Mazatlan Los Venados Stadium, and now it's kind of brand newish. When I went, 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and it was pretty. I explained to people I actually loved it because it had two clubs all the way up in the concourse. Mm-hmm. And every time that if you're at a home at bat, they'll play your music, and then between pitches, and then as soon as they pitch it, they'll stop the music.
100%, dude. The environment down there is much, much better. But the thing is, though, they make it family affordable.
Right.
They make everything affordable for people to come in. They make it about the fans a lot more than the states do. And I tell people that it's not knocking the MLB. It's just when you go somewhere else, like overseas or out of the country to play, like the environment is so much more inclusive because like tickets are affordable, the drinks, the food, teams have on-field activities, cheerleaders, they have music playing, they got people who bring in drums and stuff. Like it's just it's more inviting for the family environment. And and that's the big thing down there. You go to the Dominican, it's the same thing. You go to Venezuela, it's the same thing. You see those playoff games down there, bro, and it's insane, right? Yep. It's insane. And
it's like soccer atmosphere.
Yeah. But I mean, you can go, like, I remember this, like in Mexico City, we were playing Mexico City last year, and I was in Tijuana. We were playing Mexico City, and bro, like I had gotten my lady some tickets right on our on deck circle, like first row on deck circle, and they were like $25. Like,
yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's hard to get to a playoff game here. Like you paying even down here. Like you go to the Dodger game, right? Your tickets are at least $100. That's just one ticket. The concessions inside these stadiums are ridiculous, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're gonna do it. Like paying for parking.
Parking is the big one.
Paying for parking, traffic. I mean, just you name it. Like it's such a business in America. It only allows kind of like the super dedicated or the wealthy to really go partake in those things. And guess what? You still got people all over the country that come to these games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they still pack out and everything, but it's like the family of 5 down the street can't make that game. But in Mexico, dog, everybody can afford it. Like it's what they live and breathe, eat that stuff down there, bro. It's crazy.
And that's what I think is kind of killing Major League Baseball. I mean, it is a business aspect, but like, I grew up like anyone can go, like you just said. Like I remember those $5 tickets, and it didn't matter what, if they played the Yankees, Giants, Rangers, didn't matter. It was you just hop in your car with your family. You get like hot dogs for like $5. I know inflation is a thing now, but it's not inviting like you just said earlier, which is
Well, that's the thing with like the Coliseum, right? Like I love that place. I mean, I always have. I mean, yeah, they could we all talk about this. They could renovate it, they could clean it up, they can redo some of the seating, they can redo the concourse, all that stuff. Like it's a moot point. But it's like even just getting like a beer or like a hot dog or something, bro, it's like $10-$12.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. It's not just it's just not in Coliseum, but it's like bro, like we got cobwebs and all these things and seats.
Yeah.
We got seats being rotted out of the concrete itself. We got gouging of the team. We got all these things to complain about, right? And then on top of that, you go to watch your lifelong A's fans, like they go to watch their team, and it costs them $35 to get a drink and a hot dog, or a drink and some nachos, or whatever. And that's not including the $40 for parking. That's not including the minimum $75 ticket. Like it's super expensive, man. So it's like it's not very inviting, especially in this situation. It's not very inviting when you're gouging the team, and then you get mad when fans don't come. I'm like, bro, like you're not even making it like enjoyable for anybody.
And that's the thing. Like I'm okay paying for some good product, right? Like if the steak is hella good and like that place, they're gonna treat you good. They're about the community and all that. It's worth it, right? But like, I mean, the A's don't help themselves out at all.
It's just every major league stadium. Like you go anywhere, like you're paying $10-$15 just for a beer. Like it's those are things. That's why people wonder why you tailgate.
Yeah.
Like
and
you get bent before the game, so you ain't got to go in the game and buy anything. Like,
and then you tell people to do that, like what, 81 games a year, and then you wonder why, how come no one's here? I'm like, well, we ain't trying to spend $1,000 per game.
Yeah.
When you're trying to like leave it.
Exactly.
Like it all adds up at the end of the day. So
100%, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then what's frustrating that MLB has potential to kind of like, come back, make a comeback. You know what I mean? But it seems like they always shoot themselves in the foot. I mean, the black and brown people that play the sport has dwindled, has gone down. You know what I mean? And so it's hard to kind of just. I mean, my parents came from Mexico. They landed in Oakland, and we had, Ricky Henderson, Dave Stewart, Stan Javier, like people that we can kind of see and be like, yeah, I want to root for this team. You know what I mean? And then now it's kind of like that's gone down now. Do you feel, or how do you, the way you would fix that? What do you think? What is there a solution to this?
I mean, I think it starts in the youth, man. Like it's like I'm surrounded in youth baseball, and when you have the price of everything going up, and then on top of that, it's representation. Right? I had a conversation about this a couple weeks ago. Like when we were growing up, I'm 33, so when we were growing up, it's like you could turn on the TV and you saw Griffey, you saw Fred McGriff, you saw Deion Sanders, you saw Barry Bonds, you saw your own people, right? Yeah. Like you saw these people, so you're like, hey, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like my favorite player, Ken Griffey Jr., right? And it's I feel like it's something to say when your favorite player is one of your own people. Like I think that's important. Like, and it's not. I'm not making this a race thing, but like when I grew up biracial in Alabama, where we don't have professional sports. Like my favorite player is Ken Griffey Jr. Like hands down, nobody comes close, right? Barry Bonds second close, but that was as I got older, right? And but it's like I feel like there's something to say when your favorite player is one of your own kind. Because 100%. it gives you a different set of like motivation. It's like if that person can do it, then I can do it because he looks like me, or whatever like that. So nowadays, when you turn on TV and every dark skinned dude you see is Hispanic, and you have two black coaches, head coaches in all 30 teams. You got Ron Washington and the dude for the Dodgers, Roberts. That's it. Dusty's gone, like all these guys are gone, right? And then you go look at players, like it's like 6%, man. It's like 5.5, 6%, and it's like, but back in the '90s, it was like 20. It was 20. It was 20. The couple years back, they had it was Seattle, I think, that made up. I think they had 11 black dudes on their active 25 in the big leagues at one point. Bro, they made up like 80% of the league. Like of that 6.5, that 7%, they made up like 85% of that 7%. Like on one team. And so it's and then also again, we talk about the price of things, right? I coach kids, I coach youth sports, like talking about $500 bats. We're talking about, the team fees, the tournaments, the travel, the practice, the training, all these things. All these things are difficult to purchase no matter what color you are, because it's so pricey. And so it's like it's much easier, especially in the black and brown community, to go get a $10 soccer ball, to get a $10, $12 football, to go get a basketball. Guess what? You got fields where you can play 7-on-7. You got basketball courts everywhere. You got fields to play soccer. All you got to do is get a group of friends together and go play. Ain't nobody playing sandlot baseball. Ain't nobody out there hitting on their own, especially with no baseball experience around you. And that's the thing. Baseball is such a skilled sport. In order for you to get involved with it, you have to be around people who also have been in it. And like my dad was a great teacher. My dad loved the game of baseball, right? So I was training since I was a child. But you also got seeing how we have a lack of representation. It's going down and down and down. You have less families that grow up with that type of experience, whether it be high school, college, whatever, because in their area, and I hear this a lot, in our area, we're not a baseball area, right? But at the end of the day, if you can afford it, you can do it. But when it comes to the pros and cons of it, you're like weighing the option of paying for this and paying for that and paying for that, and then you turn on TV and there's nobody that look like you. You're like, why do I want my kid to play baseball? Like, it's just like, for what? I can send him over here to play football because he's a big kid. He's gonna be around people that look like him, and the pads, the helmet, all that stuff comes free.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the difficulty, bro. Like when we were like, even like I said, even with me, like when travel baseball wasn't as monopolized as it is now, like it wasn't so big of a business as it is now. Like our coaches, when I was a kid, our coaches were our dads, but they taught us the fundamentals, and it was about getting us better. We didn't make it an organization. We had one team. Right. That was it. And we just played. Like, we trained and we played. We trained and we played. Once we got to high school, it stopped.
Yeah.
Like, because that was the point. Like, to give us an advantage to be better in high school by our freshman year. So we had that opportunity to play varsity. We had a leg up on the other kids. And then now, I went home last year, and our original team or whatever, it's turned into an academy. Right? They got 30 teams, 20 teams between the ages of 8 and 18. Like, it's crazy, right? Like, but it's just a different mentality with youth sports now, like especially baseball. It's way different now.
Yeah, and I mean, I also have a theory too with like the whole of why you see so many Dominicans, why you see so many like white folks from like middle of nowhere America, is because the socioeconomics, and it's so much cheaper to put an academy in the Dominican Republic than it is to put, say, in Oakland, California, or in LA, because it's going to cost millions upon millions, and no one. I don't know. Do you see that or not?
I wouldn't say it's cheaper, and why I wouldn't say that, because the difference between America and other Latin countries when it comes to baseball is that, and it's nobody's fault. It's our country we live in. We live in a very selfish country. And what I mean by that is these academies that are being built in the Dominican, in Venezuela, in Cuba, whatever, bro, their own players come here to play, and then they go dump their money back to where they're from. So it's like the reason why these Dominican kids are getting better, stronger, faster at a younger age, more and more every year, is because Cano, David Ortiz, Albert Pujols, Nelson Cruz, all these guys, what they do is when they make their money here, and not to mention they're 15, 18-year big leaguers, right? So they've made hundreds, millions of dollars over their career. What do? They go home and build academies to teach their kids, teach their own people. And that's the thing. Like here in America, yeah, you might get a facility. Like you might build a facility or whatever, but guess what? You're not hiring the right coaches. You're hiring people just to work there, right? Like you have to pay. Yeah. You're not setting up academy type, like where we're down in, like, for example, Robinson Cano's place out in San Pedro in Dominican, right? First of all, that dude owns like half of San Pedro. That's where he's from. Like half of that city, I'm pretty sure, is owned by Robinson Cano. Dead serious. It's insane. But his academy is a school. It's literally, they sleep there, they get fed there, they train there, they go to class there. It's legit. It's almost like a university. It's like an IMG, except it's in the Dominican. And it's just about baseball. Like, we don't have that shit here.
No.
Yeah. We don't. Like, we don't. And it's like, because yes, it would take a lot of investment. Yes, it would take up time. But we don't live in a country that's worried about the next generation. They're worried about their own. Like, and it's not a bad thing. It's just that's the difference of the culture. Like, Like when we go down and play in Mexico, right? The teams themselves have, academies, a few of them, whatever. They get us to go over there and work with the kids for that reason, right? Like because they don't have too many legendary Mexican ball players, especially position players. So they use us. And I love it. Like I speak the language. I love working with kids. But it's like when you come here, though, like I work at 3 different facilities throughout the week. And I'm probably the most experienced dude in all the facilities. And I'm there part-time, right? Like you got kids in there that want the instruction but don't have the physical or athletic ability. You have your dads in there, your guys that just like played in JUCO. Like, bro, you can't walk into no facility like that in the Dominican. Be like, oh yeah, I played in a year in A ball and I'm working here. No, you're not. Like everybody comes through there, big leaguers, bro. You go down there in winter ball. Guess what? You got guest appearances from all the Dominican greats that come back and help their guys, right? And they do it because they want to, not because they're paid to do it. And that's kind of the thing. That's kind of the difference. That's why I teach, like, because I know there's not many people out there to teach catching, especially the right way. But I love to teach. I love to coach. And it's just not super unless you have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. Like it's not really. I can't open up my own academy here because I don't have the capital for it. And so it's very difficult in America for that societal norm to change. And so I feel like unless something crazy happens, like our numbers are going to keep going down because our representation means it's having a lack of influence. Like I do what I do and I speak and I teach and I do my social media and stuff because I want to inspire kids, yes, but I also want to inspire kids that look like me.
Yeah.
I want to inspire my Latin kids too because they know I speak Spanish. And I did that on my own. I wasn't required to do that. I did that so I could connect with them, right? It's just different, dude. It's we got to act as a group, and nobody here in America really works together unless it's beneficial instead of like for the future. That's the hard part.
It's hella selfish over here. And then I've just noticed in other countries, it feels more authentic. And even going back to your point to where the accessibility for black and brown kids or people of minorities, the numbers are down. I remember as a kid, I grew up in Oakland down the street from Kurt Flood Field. And those teams, you had black kids, white kids, Mexican kids, every type of race and credo. But when it came to travel ball, that's when I noticed that my friends stopped playing all of a sudden and they switched from baseball and then went to basketball or they played soccer. And I mean, and it was, it's the cost, it's too high. And I mean, it sucks just see these players who could have flourished if they had the funds or the availability or the accessibility to play in these travel ball teams. So that's also something that this country needs to address, is to make the game affordable. I know that the equipment's expensive. I know travel costs are expensive. Cost of living is expensive, but I admire, other countries having these academies and having players come back because they actually care versus over here.
It's huge.
It's like they play the game and they're done. They chill in their house with their families, which is fine. But if you really want to grow the game, your influence is going to be after you're done playing the game. You can go
and that's the thing. Like we all play baseball, and once you get to a certain point, like it's a business.
Yep.
Like I hate saying it like that, but us as players, like we're our business.
Mm-hmm.
So our job is to be great, but to perform for X amount of time to get X amount of benefits, and then we're done. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's treated as such. And so it's only right for us to take it like that when we're in it. You know what I'm saying? And so, but also like you go back to these other countries, guess what? They don't have diversity, bro. Like one of the beautiful parts about the country is we have hella different races and cultures here in America, mm-hmm. right? But it's like we get caught up in, and I'm not saying it's a problem, it's just reality, right? Like you go to the Dominican, guess what? 99% of the people that you're going to see are Dominican. Go to Mexico, same thing, right? They're Mexican. It's like here in America, like it's not like you got, hey, this part of California is black, like this part of California is brown, this part of California is white. Like, no, we're all mixed together, right? Which is a beautiful thing. But when it comes to the business side of things, most of these people that build especially these Latin dudes, most of these people that build their academies and their foundations for their kids and for their culture, it's not here in America. Like, because they're not from here. Or they're not originated from here. They go back to their home country and do it. And that's why I say we play a very selfish baseball game, because yes, we have guys that build we have guys that build facilities and stuff like that. But guess what? Seeing how our numbers have been diminishing, black and brown players in the big leagues, we're lacking those people that build those facilities. So most of your people that are building them are, your Mike Trouts, your Travis d'Arnaud's, guess what? White dudes. Like it's just reality, right? So it's like, even from a training standpoint, we lack the numbers to influence our own kind, because our own kind's going to get lessons and going to get work and playing on a travel ball team that's ran by the majority. And that's the issue that we run into. And that's the issue, because if we have 6% of us making it to the big leagues or getting to the big leagues, and then, we make the money, whatever it is, it's like, all right, so where are those people located? There's not many of them though. Like, and that's the issue. Like, I know Granderson's got an academy in Chicago. That's where he's from. He's got one in Chicago. I think CC's got one in New York, maybe. I'm not all the way sure with that, right? But those are two people off the top of my head that I think
he's got one in Vallejo too.
I can say that they have like a legit academy, right?
Right.
And that's two people. I can't think of any other person off the top of my head that are black or American brown, obviously, that have academies or things in place like that for the youth in the States. Like I couldn't tell you. And it's
hard. Yeah, it's hard because not even bring it up. And that's also like how you were raised too. You feel me? Like I always want to give back to my community, because we never, like, my family, we didn't grow up wealthy. We weren't wealthy folks, right? So I wonder if that plays a part of it too, because I mean, you see the most. I feel like I've seen the players that actually give back to the community are the players that really struggled to get to where they were, or they went up, and then they give back. I mean, I'm talking about, like James Harris and BJ Boyd, the backyard boys. You know what I mean? Those are players that struggle. You know what I mean? Like y'all came from basically humble beginnings and are giving back to the community, right? So I wonder if that plays a little bit of a role too as well.
I wouldn't say as much. I wouldn't say it has to do with your raising, just because I'm pretty sure that most guys that quote unquote get it out the mud, like I'm pretty sure they were all raised to be grateful and give back. It's just as you get older and you make your money, like, people change.
Yeah.
Like, and we can't do anything about it. People change. And so, you can tell me nothing if I made $200 million. Like, if I had a big league career where I made $150, $200 million, bro, we wouldn't even be talking about this with me, because I'd have, let's see, this is also the thing. I would build my academy probably in Alabama, where I'm from, right? Because we don't have anything in my city, right? So, but that would have been immediate, because that's something I've always wanted to do, though. Like, it's just, it depends on the people. Like, I know dudes in the big leagues right now that came from the hood. I ain't come from the hood. Like, I came from the country, but I ain't come from the hood, right? I don't know nothing about that. And I know those dudes are trying to get it while they can to make sure their families are taken care of, right? And that's their goal, like, to make sure that their kids grow up not the way they did, take care of their parents, like this, that, and the other. Majority of the time, that's your focus. because in reality, and like you said, to an extent, yes, it is cheaper to make these academies and stuff in other countries. But to an extent, you don't get that many people that make the Tatis money, the Machado money, the Mike Trout money, the Otani money, right? Mookie Betts. You don't get those. Not everybody. That's the top 1%, not even 1% of Major League Baseball players. Nowadays, especially in areas like California, Arizona, Georgia, Florida, New York, whatever, all these places that are dominated by Black and brown people, there's not a whole lot of players out there that are making that type of money to be able to build something as such. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? And so it's like you have to lean somewhere else to do it. You have to go somewhere else to do it. It's very difficult to do. Like I said, especially with the representation of the big leagues going down. Like, especially with that low number, 99%, I guarantee you, are worried about staying there and making as much money as possible so their family doesn't have to work and worry, because it's so little. Because it'd be different if there was 20%, especially with the money nowadays. It'd be different if the numbers were still 18, 19%, because you could go in with 5 dudes and make a freaking academy in Oakland easy, right? Like but there could be 5, 6 of you, right? You can't do that when there's only one of you on the team.
Yeah.
Like, that's the hard part. So you got guys like me, BJ, all these guys who make good money, but we don't have millions. We're giving back where we can and how we can, but it's not reaching everybody on that type of level because we don't have the funds to create something of our own at this moment in time. You get what I'm saying? And so, because all of your heavy earners, African American wise, they're basketball players or baseball or football players.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and they're installing basketball courts, or they're doing football academies.
And guess what? That's another reason why a lot of our Black and brown kids get pushed to, or they switch up, because they're seeing this basketball academy over here. There's football academy over here. This football training over here. And they're by their own people. So their parents are like, yeah, he gonna get more out of that. Yeah, it's not gonna cut. I mean, it's accessibility, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why it's a huge thing for the Oakland Ballers to exist in Oakland. You know what I mean? Like, that's folks that care about the community, and then you partner up with the backyard boys out here, and that's kind of the whole, like what you talked about. That's what you want, that nucleus, that because that helps others that wanted to give back, and now they can partner up with someone like the Ballers, and that's how they're approaching that situation.
Yeah, no, correct, dude. I told him I was like, hey, if you guys need coaches next year, let me know. And
let's go.
They were like,
breaking news, baby.
They were absolutely, we'll let you know, like because it's community.
Yeah.
It is.
Right. It's
West Oakland there too. Like, like you can feel it. Like, I mean, you went to a couple games, but like I've noticed even during the back half of their season, I saw a lot of Black kids out there, like genuinely like having fun. Like, what made me happy was seeing their progression that whole season. And even when you kind of just like walk towards the stadium, you see Black kids playing catch. I'm like, that's how I grew up playing. So like, I love everything that the Ballers are doing.
Yeah.
Embracing the city, not I mean West Oakland in general, because that's where they play, but I love how they embrace the town and the whole culture and everything, and that's what a lot of baseball teams need to start doing these days.
No, that's what I'm saying, man. It's awesome to be able to do that, and it's I feel like it's difficult at times for people to really, like, these teams to be able to get that community going, because nowadays, most of the time, your players on your team aren't from that area. Like, and so it's like being able to do the Ballers thing, right? With James from the Bay, BJ's from the Bay. I feel like I'm adopted from the Bay, right? I'm not from there, but you have all these local guys that have played for the A's that have reached into the community and made a little slight of a difference, right? and then also have us be integrated with the ballers as well. Like it brings more traction. It brings more validity to what's going on. You know what I'm saying? For the community. It's not like you coming into the locker room and be like, hey, I need 3 dudes to go to Ricky Henderson, field and work with some kids. And you got one kid from SoCal, this kid's from Utah, and then this guy's from Florida. You know what I'm saying? Like it means a lot more when you have your own people integrated in the very thing that we're trying to grow, which is that community outreach, which is, baseball, which is all these things, like people that these kids can relate to is kind of the big thing. And so like even when it comes to me, I've had kids up there, dude. I was the first Ballers game I went to that Friday or whatever, I was sitting in the seat and talking to BJ and them dudes, bro. I had people come up to me like out of the random, and I was in regular clothes, obviously, and they were like, hey, just, man, listen, my kid loves you, like blah 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 blah. I ain't played in Oakland since 18, dude. And these kids still, what I'm saying, these parents still remember me, they still talk to their kids about me, they still keep up with me, and those are the type of environments that like I want to be in. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the area that I want to be a part of, and I want to help with, and I want to help grow it. Because like you said, being able to walk to the ballpark, you got kids bringing gloves, especially black and brown kids, playing catch with each other, like playing catch with their dads or siblings, whatever it is. Bro, when you go out in Dominican, bro, I go to the field at 12:30, 1 o'clock every day for a 7:30 game. And bro, you got kids out in the parking lot playing baseball with broomsticks and bottle caps, dog. And it's all day long. They're there from the morning to night. Bro, those kids live, eat, breathe baseball. But they're also, guess what? Every winter ball, these big league heroes that they have, they go back and play for their home teams. They go back and give back to their community. They go back and spend time at these academies and work with kids. They go back. I mean, they all do it. They might live in Miami. They might live in LA. But guess what? They spend majority of their off seasons back working, showing their face, giving back, and tying into their own communities, man. And it's huge. It doesn't matter if it's Tatis, Machado, Jesus. All these dudes give back to their own people. And it's something as in America, your own people, it looks different here because there's a melting pot of cultures, right? Yeah. So you might have a few people giving back over here, but it might not be solely directed to your own kind. It's just to people in general, right? And so that in itself as well. Also, baseball, predominantly white in America, predominantly white, right? So as a kid, like even me, I mean, I was the only black kid on my baseball team till I got to high school. My best friend was the only other black dude on the team. There's 2 of us. I went to college, no black guys on baseball team till my junior year. Once I left, he left for the draft. And then I got into pro ball, and I might have had 1 every year. Yeah. Maybe. Like me and BJ played together. Yeah. So it was me and BJ for a long time. A long time. Like being the only black dudes, right? Rayshawn Dixon, when I was in Stockton, right? It was me and him in Stockton. That was it. Yeah. Every other dark-skinned dude, Latin dude, right? Like get to AA. I'm the only one. To get to AAA. I mean, so it's just like it's a hard thing to do. And like I said, like any sport you think about, like any sport you think, anything actually in life, if you turn on the TV and you want to be this, if you turn it on and there's nobody there that looks like you, there's nobody like you that's done it, how would that encourage you? It takes a special person to be like, I'm going to be the first, right? It's very hard. Right. But if you're growing up in an environment that knows more about football or basketball or soccer or whatever, it's going to be very, very hard for you to tap into a sport like baseball that's very skill oriented. It's very repetitive. It's very expensive. It's very time consuming. All these things when you're also surrounded by people that don't really have that access to the higher levels of the game. That's the hard part.
Right.
Like, why would you invest in something like, why would you take a test if you didn't study for it?
Seriously, that's yeah.
I mean, that's the hard part about baseball, dude. Like it's not overnight. Like it's not as simple to have access to as the other sports are.
It's a grind, and even like, as a fan, I always told people that, in my opinion, that the hardest thing to do in professional sports is to hit a baseball. The hardest thing to do is to grind and not just get drafted by an MLB team, but to come up. You know, go the rankings. You know, like single A, double A, triple A, make it to the majors and stay in the majors because there's always someone there gunning for you. So,
dude, I've seen tons of first rounders, bro, never get to the big leagues.
Crazy.
Like that's just a door opening. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. But so one of the things I wanted to ask you is during your days playing for the Oakland A's, when you put on that green and gold, that uniform, it comes with that tradition, that rich history, and that honor. Did you ever feel that when you got called up? Did you ever feel like you needed that responsibility to carry on that team's legacy and to honor the town? And what did the city of Oakland mean to you?
Hell yeah. Like that was pride, dude. Like that was I feel like you feel that with any big league jersey you put on, right? But to be drafted by Oakland and then make it to the big leagues by Oakland too, I was like, all right, well, I got to do my part. Like, and I got to do my part not just for the A's but for the town. Like I gotta make sure I'm in the community. I got to make sure I'm respectable. I got to make sure that I perform. Like, and it wasn't once you get up to the big leagues, man. Like, yeah, you want your numbers to be great, but it's about winning.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not winning. You're not winning for yourself. You're winning for your town. Like you're winning for the front of your jersey. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. And so when I got called up, man, I was like, I have to be great. Like I owe this organization and I owe this city everything that I have every single day. You know, like I've been here, I played for them for 7 years. You know, I developed relationships with people throughout the minor leagues that are diehard green and gold. And to be able to put that uniform on, which was my dad's favorite team as well, to be able to put that green and gold on for the first time, dude, it was a sense of like I can do this. But it was a sense of pride when I walked out of that tunnel for my first game that Sunday, you know, and people were clapping and cheering and, you know, congrats, glad you're finally here, blah, blah, blah. I felt a sense of pride, dude. It felt like home. And that's the upsetting part. That's why I've been speaking so much about the Ace moving and stuff, because I met some of my best friends like in when I was playing for the green and gold. Like I met some of the best friends coming through the system that are diehard A's fans, you know, and even to this day, like shit, me and Jorge met a long time ago, right?
Yeah, man.
And I was around before he had kids. But it's like things like that. Like, you know, a lot of the Oakland 68s, like I've met a lot of them a long time ago, man. And we still chat here and there and we still keep up with each other. You know, it's a sense of pride when it comes to a team like the A's. And if you don't have that sense of pride, something's wrong with you. Because a team and an organization like that with so much history and such a strong and resilient fan base and such rich history within the city, it's very hard not to feel like that.
Exactly.
Like, and that's the upsetting part. That's the frustration. You know, that's the anger that comes out about what's happening. It's because like that city was created and formed around the green and gold.
Yep.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
That's what stuck everything together, bro. Like you got the Bash brothers, you got Vita Blue, you got Smoke, you got Eckersley, you got Dallas, you know, just all this history. Ricky, you got all this history and all these historical players out there wore the green and gold.
Yeah, I was gonna ask ask you like, what is MLB gonna miss without Oakland? But you just summed it up perfectly to me. So I mean,
Well, the MLB, and I hate saying it like this, but the MLB ain't gonna miss anything because they don't care.
Right.
yeah, well, that's
Like
yeah.
it's a business, right? To them, that's it. They don't care, dude.
Yeah.
But baseball in itself, I would be surprised if people didn't miss, like, especially the guys who play for the A's, like, or played for the A's. It's gonna feel different, and
Yeah,
it's gonna be bothersome. It would be bother. It would be if I was still in baseball right now and I played for another organization, and next year I went to play in Sacramento against the A's. I probably wouldn't be upset. I'd be pissed. Like I'd be straight up mad about it. Like, because even as a visiting player, like that Coliseum holds history, and that's what people don't understand. It's not just about playing the current team. It's about walking into the Coliseum and seeing the banners and understanding what has happened here. It's like going to Rickwood Field down in Alabama, right?
Yeah.
You walk in that place, it's beat up a little bit. It's renovated because people play like I played college games there, right? Because I went to school down the street. But like you walk into it, and a lot of those things are still there. They're preserved, and you're not walking in there like, damn, this place is ugly. Like, damn, this place is these seats suck. You don't walk in there like that. You walk in there and you bask in like the history of it. Like my first time playing there, and this was kind of like in Oakland, right? My first time playing there, I stepped in the box and I was like, this is the very box that Babe Ruth hit in. Jackie Robinson was standing at this plate. All these guys, like I just started running. Willie Mays played here. Like I just started running, and I couldn't care less about the game that day. Like my first time, because I was in awe. Like I was like, I am taking the field where these Major League Baseball legends that look like me have legitimately played at this stadium. Like, and that's what Oakland was. Like that's what Oakland was. It was full of history. It's like playing in Boston, playing at the Cubs place, playing at old Yankee Stadium, playing at the Dodgers place. Dodgers place is one of the oldest stadiums in baseball. But being able to represent, not only play there, but be a part of the home team, it means a lot more when you put that green on, you put that gold on, and you walk down that tunnel, because there were so many people before you that were monumental for the game of baseball and for the city of Oakland. It's hard not to walk down that tunnel with pride.
Yeah.
Like, period. Even if it's in a A's t-shirt, it's hard not to.
Yeah, I mean, we ran a homework club at the Coliseum, and I remember going to the field for the first time as a kid, and I remember just having chills, because I was like, this is where Ricky, where Vita Blue, where Reggie Jackson, I mean, all the greats that like just step foot in this place, and you just get chills. You're just like, wow, and people don't, man, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to like convince people that like that's what we are gonna miss. That's what we share so much at that stadium. You know what I mean? Like, and man, it's hard. It was hard, but
I mean, because if you think about it, like if it comes to baseball in general, if you think about past, I just say 50 years, 40 years, right? You think about any of the great players that come to mind. Majority of them wore the green and gold.
Yeah.
Like at some point, like majority of them wore the green and gold, right? So you're talking your Reggie Jacksons, your Ricky Henderson, your Dave Stewart, your Vita Blues. I mean, you could go on and on and on, right? But these guys are legends in the game, not just in Oakland, in the game. So to be able to walk into that stadium, to be able to step in that box, to be able to play on that field, and you're like, yo, these dudes are here with me, right? It meant so much more. Like it was more than a game. It was history, and it wasn't just always on the field either. You know, like it was just. I had a blast putting that uniform on. Like it was awesome.
And you you're cemented in that history as well. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
in as little as I may feel like, yeah, I know, but it's like I couldn't have thought of a better place to do it in though, because of the history and because of the civil rights history, because of the camaraderie in the city of Oakland when it comes to those things. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Like it was perfect. And it wouldn't have been the same, and it wouldn't have meant what it meant, I feel like, if I would have done it with another team.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, shit happens, but it's like that was what made it bigger and more meaningful to me, is because I did it where I did, but with the community and the history of the A's when it came to the civil rights and when it came to the black and brown presentation that they've always had for the most part. It was seamless. Like, people ask me all the time, you regret it? No, I don't. I don't even a little bit, because it was more than baseball. It was bigger than baseball. This was about people.
Yeah.
And one of the, I told you before, like, bro, Oakland's got the most resilient, toughest, and inclusive fans in baseball. Like, I've never met a group of people. I've never get, and this you can go all the way to New York with this. I've never met a group of people that were so green and gold that they don't even cross the bridge.
That's the thing.
That
Like,
100%.
I've never seen it before, dog. Like the Mets Yankees thing, like whatever. But like, I've never met so many people that are so pro green and gold, and it has, half of it had nothing to do with baseball. Like, I've had conversations over the years with people in Oakland, man, and half of the time it's not even about like the play. It's about the history. It's about the camaraderie that people have when they come into the stadium. You know, it's I mean, hell, it's like Raiders games.
Yeah.
Like, it don't matter where you're from. You got a Raiders jersey on, your family. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what it was like for me. Like, and I enjoyed it, you know, because I took the time to speak to people and to make sure that, you know, the Oakland community recognized me as a person first, not a player first. You know, I've never been one of those types of people that wear my jersey outside of the field type analogy.
Yeah.
But bro, I loved it, man. Like, I've never met a bad person in Oakland. I've never met a lesser fan than the A's fans that they have out there. And like I said, to this day, I still got people that, you know, check in on me. They still message me. They still like my stuff. They still follow me. And bro, I have nothing but love in the Bay, bro. Period.
Yeah, I mean, it's the home of the Black Panther Party, the home of the Brown Berets. It's like, I keep telling people, man, this is
So I'm saying, dog.
You know, you can't kick us down because we're always going to get up.
And during those times, the only thing that was standing was the Coliseum.
Yep, 100%, man.
The other teams weren't there.
And that's a big reason why you are so beloved in Oakland, because you got it. You got the history, not just with the Oakland A's, but you understood the history of Oakland. And yeah. I do want to touch on what happened in 2017, I believe it was in September, when you became the first major league player to kneel during the national anthem. You followed in the footsteps of Colin Kaepernick. I just wanted to know of what your experience was like back then. I know personally, you became an instant fan favorite to me. I mean, I followed your career even during Stockton. I met you years ago, but you stood 10 toes in, like, you did not budge. And that was the most Oakland thing I've ever seen. And you represented and gave people hope to, you know, stand for what you believe in. So I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit on your experience during that time.
Oh, I mean, it was nothing short of hell, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm talking thousands of death threats. I mean, on every platform. I had people finding my family and threatening them to harm them. My sister at the time was coaching in Texas. She was coaching college basketball in Texas, and I had to put like a police detail on her for like a month or two, just because like people have found where she worked, and people telling me I'm in the locker room, looking at Twitter or whatever, and I got a message from a guy that says, "I hope you and your family die in a house fire," and I'm about to go like into a catcher's meeting, like like. It's things like that. It's like my family. Like I think I remember this specifically because it's my dad. But somebody threatened to find my dad, and like I respond. That was one of the few that I actually responded to. I was like, "Good luck. Do you want his address?" Because my dad was an ex-military. He's paranoid. You name it, dog. Like it's like my dad probably got landmines in his yard. Like I have no idea. I was like, but if you want to go find him, you're more than welcome. Like he might come to you.
You showed me something because we hung out after that night, and you instantly got.
Bro, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, I remember that.
Like the only thing that I wish was different is if I had the knowledge, like a couple years later, then. Because then I would have realized like the magnitude of like what I was about to receive. I knew it was going to be bad. Like I'm not an idiot. Like I grew up in probably one of the a very racist area, like especially growing up being biracial. Mm-hmm. I got, I tell people all the time, I got shit from both races, both sides. Like I wasn't white enough, I wasn't black enough, like blah blah blah. And so we grew up around that. And so I knew it was going to be bad. I didn't know it was going to be so dark and so heavy. And then on top of that, I didn't really have anybody around me to help me. Like I couldn't really talk to anybody. I didn't have any psychological help. I didn't have any. I just had nobody to talk to about it. And so it was difficult to be able to know those things and then still try to go to work. And, when I'm getting called the N-word, in Texas, that following weekend, I had teammates go to bat for me. I did. And I'm grateful for everybody that was on that team. And that stuff, stuff hurts. Like, it's hurtful, very, very hurtful, because if you look around the stadium now, you got people on their phones, you got people sitting down, you got people ordering food and everything when the national anthem comes on. But it's like when people peacefully protest, whatever it may be, when people peacefully protest about it, that's the problem that you have. Yeah. Like we got there's hella people out here that probably can't even recite the national anthem.
Yeah.
Like there's also a lot of people out there that also don't know the history of the national anthem. Mm-hmm. They don't understand that there's a third verse in the national anthem that was written by a white slave owner. That it was the third verse of it explicitly explains the necessary spilling of slave blood to keep America what it is. It's like a whole group. It's like a whole montage of things, right? But it's like it's never been about the protest. It's been about who's protesting, and we all know this. Like if you think about these protests, if you think about it, when protests happen, it's more so about who's protesting, not what they're protesting about. Nobody ever says what they're protesting about is wrong. They start depicting that person individually or that group individually and try to make them out to be the villains, but they never address the reason of the protest. You know what I'm saying? They try to find all these negative things about this person instead of looking at the actual problem. And that's the issue. Like that's the issue with all these things. And you got the raid of the Capitol. Mm-hmm. Right? You got a whole lot of people disregarding it, right? Yeah. Disregarding it. And then they keep bringing up the BLM protesters that were marching down the street with signs.
For real.
Like it came out with a lot of those times where they were quote unquote vandalizing places. They were undercover cops doing it.
Yeah.
And they weren't brown cops either.
Yeah.
They were doing it to make them look bad, right? There's a reason why they blew up Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
Because Black America was perfectly fine operating by themselves. They blew it up because at the end of the day, the one thing that our world and our country fears the most is Black and brown people actually working together.
Mm-hmm. Nothing more dangerous than an educated Black man or a brown man too. So
shit, fuck that. Ain't nothing more dangerous than an educated Black woman.
That's true.
Oh.
That is
period.
The ultimate threat.
But period. And it's like, and it just goes back to like all of those things just go back to the way our society is, the way our country was founded, the way it's run. It's meant to be ran the way it is. Yeah. And so it's like, you know, all these people think like somebody, you know, the theories and stuff on some of these historical events, bro, I go down wormholes sometimes, and some of these people's takes, like, you know, the MLK assassination, like all these things. I'm like, bro, I said that dude got killed by a Marine. Who employs the Marines? I'll wait. Mm-hmm. Like the shot that was taken was from a Marine sniper, bro.
Who was the public enemy number one? On what list was he on? Being looked from FBI.
Exactly. I mean, and it
who
just
taped them?
Exactly. Them? Well, and it just goes back to that, right? Yeah. And like I said, it's about standing up. You know, my dad always taught me, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. But what I've always done is I've stood up for people, and I've definitely stood up for my own kind. And you know, and yes, I'm half and half. But I've always stood up for the person who can't do as much, the lesser than person, the one who can't speak up or doesn't have the ability to speak up or whatever. I've always been that person. But when it comes to people, when it comes to our race, when it comes to our culture, Black and brown people, I was like, we've been surrounded by, especially in the recent years, because now we have cell phones. It's publicly we've been destroyed. And like I said, like anytime you bring up any of these conversations, like people will be like, oh, you know, I saw a thing the other day. It said black African Americans make up like 17% of the population in America, but they commit over 50% of the crimes. I'm like, well, that's not true. It's not even close to being true. I was like, but if just for sake of argument, though, I was like, out of your quote unquote 50% of the crimes, we also lead the nation in exonerations too, because we were wrongfully committed to these crimes. And so it's like people pick and choose what they want to argue with, but they don't want to have the whole conversation. So the society and the media paint us as all these Black and brown people as these just worse people. But last time I checked, and I mean, this is real. Last time I checked, I ain't seen a Black or brown person shoot up a school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but I got my ass beat in my house. Like, so, but it's like when things like that happen, like Breonna Taylor, right? Like, think about this. Like, she's laying in bed. Okay, regardless of what her boyfriend has done, they're trying to justify the cops coming and shooting her in bed because of her boyfriend's actions. But if that would have happened any other way, any other type of person, you get what I'm saying? They would have been like, "Oh, this person's so innocent. Like, well, you can't judge her on her boyfriend's behavior." Blah blah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like they always try to find the negatives. Like they always try to find the negatives and justify. But then at the same time, when we do stuff good, they try to always find the negatives.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the society that we live in. That's the world we live in, right? And so it's just like back to what you were saying, like the history of Oakland and what it's meant for our people. These are things that are etched in history of the world, not just Oakland history. It's like I said, just like with the players. Like the players aren't just Oakland A's Hall of Famers, bro. They're legends in the game of baseball. Yeah. And so that's the green and gold. That's the Oakland. That's the Oakland spirit. That's the camaraderie and the strength and the resilience and the fortitude that the city of Oakland has had and always had they always possess. So being able to play for the A's in that type of environment, and I grew up a big history nut, like especially when it comes to Black and brown people. Dude, I was elated, bro. Like it was incredible. Like I loved it, and it was unfortunate that I got cut short, but I don't have any regrets or any bad memories outside of occasional sewage at the stadium where that smell was strong as hell. I don't have any bad memories, man, because I as simple as our uniforms were and the people that were around me, dude, I loved every second of it.
Nice.
I had sewage issues in that. My house was built in 1950, so it makes sense. Sometimes you're gonna have
So
problems.
the stadium,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, yeah. Oh man. Well, man, I appreciate you, man, for coming on here, man.
Sure.
I remember I got a story too, real quick.
Oh shit.
When we're running the Green Stampede, the A's refused to send a player up. I hit up my boy Bruce. I was like, "Hey, man, can you just come down and talk to these kids? They need to hear from a professional ball player." He was like, "Yeah, I'll come down right now." Came through, and I got email from the A's. They're like, they were pretty pissed off. Like, how did you? We didn't authorize this. I was like, "Hey, I don't know. You guys didn't want to."
Yeah, they were pissed, bro.
They were, yeah.
Because
like,
they asked me. They were like, "Hey, did you go speak at the Greek Stampede thing?" I was like, "Yeah, why? What's up?" They were like, "Well, you should have told us." I was like, "For what?" And they were like, "Well, we could have like sent like Stomper or like a camera crew." I was like, "Why would you want to do that?" I was like,
we asked them.
I was like, I don't care about that. I was like, I said one of my homies that runs it or is part of it asked me to come down, so I did. I was like, I'm glad there wasn't a camera there. I don't even like you ain't got to pay me to do that. It's a community, and that's what it is. Like it was like when I went to Stockton a couple weeks ago. Right, they reached out to me and were like, "Hey, listen, we got Ricky Henderson bobblehead day. We want you to throw out first pitch. We want you to do this." And I'm like, "Okay." They were like, "Is that it?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll be there." Like, it's okay. Like when the Ballers asked me to come up there that weekend, I saw you guys, right? Yeah. They're like, "Hey, we come up here and do this." I was like, "Yeah, sure." They're like, "Okay, all right."
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Like,
we'll
yeah, I'll be there. Like, well, because and that's who I am though too. Like, it's like, if anybody asks me to do anything, especially in the Bay, like, I'll make time for it, especially when it has to do with the community, with the kids, with the future, right?
Right. Yeah.
I'll 100% do it if I have the time because that's the importance. That's why Oakland is Oakland, right? Like these monumental figures have given back to the future generations. Therefore, now we are giving back to the next ones, right? And again, that's how history keeps growing. That's how these legends never die. That's how this game of baseball, this strength of the Oakland people, it never fades, right? It gets stronger because it's generational. But if you have a group of people out there that don't give back, that don't share the information, that don't share the time, that generation will die.
Yeah.
They'll lose those values. They'll lose that structure. They'll lose that sense of hope, sense of pride, sense of whatever, especially when it comes to our community. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's about. Like I've played this game. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't love baseball like a lot of people do. Like I haven't watched one playoff game. It's my job for a long time. I don't watch baseball. And I played baseball because my dad loved baseball, right? I fell in love with the work. I fell in love with the grind, the struggle, the complications, the difficulty, right? So when I got to college, I was like, okay, my job is to either be the best here or to give myself a chance to get drafted. All right, let's go out and win. And I played baseball to win. And that was the only reason I played. It was the only reason I played. I busted my ass. I worked my ass off. I was harsh with my teammates at times, but I was a leader, right? I was a warrior. I was a soldier. Like my dad trained me as a soldier, right?
Yeah.
But the whole goal every day I put my cleats on was to win. Even if I didn't do well, my goal was to win.
Yeah.
And so I played baseball as it was almost like a checklist, but there were goals, right? Like it was like I'm gonna keep going until I got this, that, this. I've checked this box, blah blah blah. So it's like get drafted, check. Big leagues, check. Catcher, check. And then I was like, okay, obviously took a left turn. And then so I went down to Mexico. I was like, okay, you guys brought me here to win a championship. My job's to win a championship. Check. Go back to the States. Never got an opportunity to get back to the big leagues. So I was like, all right, gave it a shot. Didn't work out. Back to it. Went down to winter ball in Mexico. Never played. So I was like, okay, got to win a championship. Check that box. And then now it's like, what now? Right? Because I don't. That's the hard part, though. It's like I don't have there's not a next level as a player for me. Like I'm not going to Japan. I'm not going back to the big leagues. I'm almost 34. Blah blah blah. And so that's where I kind of struggle. That's why I teach and I invest back into the community so much, is because that's my next. Like I love teaching. I love coaching. Like my goal, my end goal, and I told my guys on the podcast last week, my end goal is I want to be a head coach at a HBCU.
Okay.
So I want to be a coach at a HBCU because in order for us to change the dynamic and change the visual and the representation, we first have to change the culture within.
Yeah.
And so if anything that I give those kids would be obviously the big leaguer, ex-big leaguer, the experience in multiple countries, blah, blah, blah. But I've also lived and been a part of the shit up top. And I'm from an area and so I'd be able to give them the game that they'd have no idea about yet because they're still college athletes within the game of baseball, within the life that they're quote unquote want, what's coming to them, what life is coming at them with. Like I have all of those experiences as one of them. And so I could help them not only be better baseball players, but better young men.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do. Like that's like my end. That's like my end goal. Like if I was a head coach at HBCU, bro, I would be through the roof. Right. And that's why I teach youth now, because I got to get more credentials. I got to get more credibility under, and I have a little more time under my belt. But being able to be a coach for them and them say like, hey, my coach is ex-big leaguer, bro. He knows it. He does it, this, that, and the other. That's representation, what we were talking about. That's the representation. Like there's a lot of HBCUs out there right now that got white coaches. No offense. Yeah. But it's like, come on now, bro. It's an HBCU.
Well, like you get it, man. You really understand the dynamics of it, and you the full baseball life. And I love the hunger from you. It's like you played major league, you played other countries, you've done it all, and the fact that you even want to just get into coaching, like I love it. And seeing that from you wanting to coach a HBCU, like that's what we need. And I mean, we need more people like you just to step up for us, so
yeah. I love kids, man. I love watching them get better. I love being able to add something to somebody's life, especially these ball players. But especially our people. Like it's huge because I've been surrounded with Dominican dudes, Venezuelan guys, bro. I see how I've played in those countries. I've seen how they give back. I see the resources that they give these kids. And these kids come from way worse than what we're in. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And to see these kids and their little brothers and their sons and this, that, and the other, seeing how they're now grown and coming through the system, like seeing Acuna's brother make his debut with the Mets, right? Yeah. And they're where they're at right now. I bet you he's elated, right? Like it's crazy, and I guarantee you, bro, he works with his brother. It works his ass off, right? And it's just like being able to give back to your own has a different. And so being able to go into one of these HBCUs and make a difference and be living proof, excuse me, of the system and how it works and the bads and the good parts. It's something I really, really want to do because I feel like I would be able to change that dynamic. I'd be able to influence them a little more, and they would have a little more respect for me because I'm not a big leaguer just kind of popping in here and there. Like I'm there every day. Like I'm getting my hands dirty every day with them. Like that's what I want to do, man. Like that's what
I mean, yeah, you do well with kids. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't know if you remember this too. We both stopped a bike robbery in Oakland. I don't know if you remember this shit. And it was a kid, and we told him, "Hey man, what the hell are you doing?" And then we like talked him out of it or some shit, and he left the bike alone. Do you remember that?
Oh my god!
Oh,
I forgot about that.
Oh, and I told him, I was like, "You want free tickets to the A's game? We got you. We got a program and all this." And the kid was like, "All right." I think we just kind of tired him out and just talking so much to him that he just kind of
like, all right, man.
I actually do remember that. Oh my god, I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
You know?
Holy hell.
Man. So you'd be good at that, man. And I mean, you're pretty good at coaching too.
And yeah, if it brings me, and I'm open for places, man. I'm trying to build some stuff down here where I can get back and forth to the Bay too. And I'm trying to work on some things down here that'll allow me to put on stuff up in the Bay like consistently. Yeah. And because dude, that's my community, dude. Like I'm not from there, and I'll never say I am. But I've had nothing but great experiences, and I've received nothing but love in that community. And I told Gamer Athletics dude, I told him, I said, bro, I was off camera. He was like, why do you speak so like highly of us and stuff? And I was like, bro, I've got nothing but love for you guys. I was like, you guys have treated me like a person. You guys have treated me like I was human, and you guys have respected me. And after that, like I've given you guys as much respect as I can. And I was like, I love you guys, like the community itself. I was like, I was in a rough place, for a while when it came to baseball, and like you guys made it worth going through hell and back, And I said, I'll always be grateful for that because my own community, like I don't have nothing at home when it comes to community. Like it's not like I grew up in Atlanta, where I had the Braves and stuff. Like I was like, this is my community. Like, I've been adopted into it. I said, so whatever it is y'all need, like community wise, whatever, I said, hit me, bro. I'm down. If I have the time, if I can, I will make it work however I have to, because that's what like all you guys in the community of Oakland mean to me.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fans Fest 2025. You heard it here first. We gonna have Bruce out.
Yeah. More details. But yeah, man, like you're welcome here anytime. You already know that. I mean, we're all gonna keep in touch with everything. But thank you for taking the time out to talk with us today and sharing these stories that, giving people insights, insight about your journey as a player and, like your struggles, even when for the anthem and little stories like that, man. Anything you need, let us know, man. Appreciate it.
Bro. No, I appreciate the invite, dog. And like, if you guys ever need anything, whether it be talking shop or community wise or whatever it is, bro, just hit me up. I always got time for you guys.